If you were locked in a psychiatric ward right now, how exactly would you prove you were sane? In January 1973, Stanford psychologist David Rosenhan and 7 perfectly healthy volunteers faked a single symptom, hearing a voice say empty, hollow, and thud, to get inside 12 different mental hospitals. From the exact moment the doors locked behind them, they stopped faking it and acted completely normal. But the real horror of this story isn't what happened to them inside those hospitals. It's the sheer audacity of the psychological trap they uncovered, a rigged game you are caught in right now. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly why trying to prove you're okay is the fastest way to look unstable. Because once those 8 people were admitted, they discovered that sanity wasn't a biological fact. It was a permission slip the doctors simply refused to sign. When they sat in the day room taking notes, the nursing staff didn't see a bored person writing. They wrote down, "Patient engages in writing behavior, mutating a totally normal habit into a compulsive disease." When one guy was pacing the hall and a nurse asked if he was nervous, he honestly replied, "No, bored." His truth didn't matter. When patients waited outside the cafeteria half an hour before lunch, a psychiatrist actually had the nerve to call it oral acquisitive syndrome. They were just early for lunch because there is literally nothing else to do in a hospital. But here is the ultimate insult of the whole study. The highly trained, authoritative doctors were completely blind to the truth, but the actual patients weren't. During the first few admissions, 35 of the real patients looked at these researchers and said, "You're not crazy. You're a journalist. You're checking up on the hospital." Rosenhan called his paper "On Being Sane in Insane Places." He documented something we now call diagnostic momentum. It's an arrogant cognitive bias where an initial label gets glued to you, and suddenly, every single thing you do is warped to fit it. The label comes first, and it rewrites your reality. Now pull the lens outward to your own life. The partner who decides your silence is resentment. The boss who interprets your competence as arrogance. The parent who hears your boundaries as a betrayal. Think about the sheer audacity of someone rewriting your reality to fit their narrative. It is the exact same rigged game. Every single thing those 8 people did inside the ward was something a free person would do in the normal world. The only thing that changed was who held the clipboard. Think about the absolute unfairness of being accused of having an attitude. The exact second you defend yourself, your defense is weaponized as the proof that they were right. It's an impossible, infuriating loop called a Kafka trap. If you were locked in a ward tomorrow, what does normal actually look like when someone is staring at you waiting for a symptom? If you stay quiet, you're depressed. If you get angry, you're aggressive. If you insist you are completely healthy, you're in denial. The staff weren't lying, which almost makes it worse. They genuinely believed their own illusions. When the fake patients said they felt fine, the doctors didn't have the humility to think they made a mistake. They assumed the patients simply lacked insight into their own illness. Because the system is designed to worship itself, it never catches its own errors. The average stay was 19 days, and one person was locked in this nightmare for 52 days. And when they were finally let go, the doctors still refused to admit they were wrong. They weren't called sane. They were discharged with a label of schizophrenia in remission. The label was a life sentence. Think about the colleague everyone decided is difficult. The child branded sensitive. The woman dismissed as too much. People aren't actually observing them anymore. They are just admiring their own labels. Your behavior stops being information and becomes evidence used against you. You cannot argue your way out of a label because the argument itself is just read as part of the disease. The protest is the proof. If you have ever felt yourself shrinking into the twisted version of you that someone else already decided you were, listen to me. You are not weak, and you are not imagining the unfairness of it. You are caught in a perceptual trap. The people who lost their minds a little bit in those wards were not fragile. They were adapting to an environment that systematically stripped away their identity. In social psychology, behavioral confirmation means that if someone treats you like you're broken long enough, you will unconsciously change your behavior just to survive the room. Under that kind of pressure, adapting to a crazy environment looks exactly like you're going crazy. So, your natural instinct is probably to fight harder, to explain yourself better, to beg them to finally see the real you. But what if the absolute healthiest, most powerful thing you can possibly do is to completely deny them the satisfaction of your explanation? Sanity, in the social sense, isn't just something you have inside you. It's something the room you're in agrees to give you. Most rooms do, but some rooms are rigged. And when they are, it is rarely about you. Your goal in life shouldn't be to never be misunderstood. That's impossible. Your goal is to stop spending your life exhausting yourself, trying to prove your innocence to a judge who already wrote the verdict. I wish I could give you a neat little psychological trick to fix them, but there is no trick. Because every social context you enter contains a miniature version of that arrogant, blind psychiatric ward. Have you ever found yourself in a room where the more you tried to explain the truth, the more it proved their lie?